Hello and welcome back. It is 2026 and I'm ready to jump back into things, okay? It's been too long. It's been like a month since I did anything. So I sat here and I was like, there's got to be something going on I can talk about. Well, it turns out, no, there's nothing going on. Everyone is still in vacation mode. So I was like, see what the Christians are up to. Now, I have to preface this video by saying, like, the same thing I always say whenever I talk about Christians is that this isn't like a Christian bashing video. These people are on a totally different level from like your average person who's like, I love Jesus. This goes far beyond that. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to shame anyone for having faith in God or whatever. I was a Christian for over 25 years of my life. I no longer am and have different beliefs about it now, but if you're someone who believes, like, I'm not trying to offend you, please stick around and please don't be one of these people because this is wild. But basically, like, I found a side of TikTok where Christians are talking about meeting Jesus, like, in real life, like people having actual experiences with a physical Jesus that they swear exists. And some of these are wild, y'all. So we're gonna jump into it, but first I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Hungry Root. If you've been around my channel for a while, you've definitely heard me talk about Hungry Root, and that is because out of every meal subscription or like grocery delivery service I've ever tried, Hungry Root by far is my favorite. It's the best. So much so that despite them obviously being a sponsor on this channel, thanks Hungry Root, I am a paying customer of this service. I personally use this myself and I love it. If that tells you anything about how wonderful Hungry Root is, there you go. As a busy work from home mom, Hungry Root simplifies my life in so many ways. It plans all of my meals for me for the week. It curates a shopping cart full of goodies for me that you absolutely can customize if you want to. And then they ship everything to my door. The recipes that I've tried have all been delicious. Now, of course, I haven't tried all of them because there's 50,000 of them. Over 50,000 of them. Yeah. Hungry Root learns what you like over time. So every time they build a cart for me, they make sure to load it up with some of my family's favorites. My kids love these sour cream and onion potato chips that are basically Pringles but better. And then I usually buy these for myself because they're like less junky Reese's cups and I have a very demanding sweet tooth. But my kids usually eat these up super quick too. And my must-have that Hungry Root knows that I like and now automatically adds to my cart every single time are these lesser evil Himalayan pink salt popcorn bags. It's my favorite snack of all time right now. If you've used other like meal subscription services, you know that they usually have like a lot of prep. You might be prepping for like 20 minutes with some of those recipes. And then of course you're cooking for like an hour. Hungry Root is not like that. Hungry Root recipes are super easy. There's like minimal prep, if any. Sometimes there's pretty much no prep at all. But if there is prep, it's super easy. And the cooking itself is super easy too. It's like cooking a burger or boiling some water for some pasta. Like that is so easy. Anyone can do it. Almost all of the ones I've tried anyway are ready in like 15 minutes tops. And all of the groceries that Hungry Root offers are held to very high standards. They've screened out over 200 additives like high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives, so you know you're getting the best quality ingredients and snacks. And if all of this I've been telling you lines up with a New Year's resolution of yours that you actually want to stick to this time, you're going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use the code Savannah Marie. That is 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com with the code Savannah Marie. Thank you so much, Hungry Root, for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into it. Also, hey, I forgot to ask, could you possibly leave some hype points on this video if you have the option? Sometimes there's an option for my videos, sometimes there's not. But every time I've asked, my videos perform significantly better. So thank you for your hype points if you're able to give them. First of all, like, I just turned on my computer to start filming this and don't ask me why, but I am not someone who consumes this kind of news. But for some reason, I had like a little notification in my news article pop-ups that come up sometimes from Fox. I saw this and I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I've only read the headline and I'm not going to go any farther into it. But I think this just is a nice foundational place to start about how wild some of these like really devout Christians are, because the title of this article is "The Faith Deficit in Artificial Intelligence Should Alarm Every American." Guys, the computers don't believe in Jesus. This computer is not religious enough for me. This fake mind does not believe in the same God that I believe in. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable! Guy, they know that artificial intelligence isn't a real person, right? But no, because it's not enough for them to think that everybody needs to also believe the same exact things that they believe. No, now this applies to computers too. You can't make this stuff up like this. I know, not all Christians. I think most people who believe in God don't look at this stuff and go, oh yeah, that is concerning. I am concerned. Like, I don't think most people have this train of thought at all, but no, the people on Fox are really upset that computers don't believe in God. So anyway, let's get into some of these. The caption of this video literally just says, "My King."
I was just worshiping, okay? I worship in the mornings. And I prayed, I asked him to come to me in a vision or dream. And I've never had a vision, but I prayed about it. And I was worshiping in the room with earbuds in by myself. And I was moved, as I often am. And at the end of the last song, I went to pray. And then I said, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your..." And then all of a sudden, this like light, like it was like just like it was like a light, and then it just my eyes are closed, but this light was right there in the middle. Sorry, this just happened. And then it was like zooming out, but everything's still dark. But as it's zooming out.
As what's zooming out? I'm sorry, is this a camera? It's as what's zooming out. It sounds mean to call it a delusion, but like, if I'm standing here and suddenly it starts zooming out, like if my vision starts like zooming out, I'm going to the doctor. Whatever. She says her eyes are closed. And first of all, I do want to say, I do believe this woman, that like, I believe that she believes that she saw what she says she saw, or experienced what she says she experienced, because she's clearly emotional. She would come back and be like, well, you just don't understand because you're an atheist and you don't understand what it's like to have a relationship with God. I have one side of my family is incredibly Christian, which is where my upbringing came from. None of them have ever like told me like, I saw Jesus one time. This how like none of them have had experiences like this. And my grandparents are the most godly people on this planet. I'm not even kidding, dude. So I don't know. There's gonna be people who are gonna be like, you just don't understand. You don't understand what it's like. No, I do understand. I was raised in it and I was devout as an adult, dude. But my point is, her eyes are closed. She says it starts zooming out. Doesn't specify what it is, but I'm assuming her vision, which that's scary, dude. But if that's not happening in real life, it's happening in your head. Like I'm sorry, but like you're either dreaming or this is like a medical issue that you probably like, what would that be, like vertigo or something? Anyway, sorry, that was a long rant. We'll get back into it and see how much more ridiculous this gets.
The light that I see that was right there, it's zooming out and it's like this on a cross, and the only thing that's light is the cross, and I can so clearly see that that's his body.
Bro, what? There's a lot of things going on in this video. First of all, this thing just like falls out of nowhere. Are we not going to talk about that? Also, what is this thing that's floating above her head? That must be Jesus. You know what? I'm a believer now. I do find it strange that, let's say that she's 100% correct and this actually happened. If Jesus is going to appear to anybody, why would he pick like, hey, I'm going to appear to this person and I'm going to show them my death. I'm going to show them the gruesome way that I died and make them look at it. This is a vision. You don't get to choose. You don't get to get out of this. You're going to look at me on a cross dying. And this is weird too, because I'm pretty sure all the other ones we're gonna watch today, I think this is the only one where she's like, I saw him on a cross. And it's like, well, everyone else here that we're gonna be watching today says that they had these great experiences with Jesus and they were, we'll get into it, but like, how come he chose to be like, this is how I died, look at my death? Like, being in Christianity, you don't think that the cross thing is weird. It's normal symbolism, you know? And it kind of is normalized symbolism in American society, not just American, like at any Christian nations. Crosses are everywhere and no one really bats an eye at it. But once you're out of it and you start to think about it, it's pretty messed up. That's like a medieval torture device, dude. It's like the same thing as wearing like a gallows around your neck. Like, I don't know. Or, what's the thing when you chops people's head off?
Guillotine.
That's what I was trying to say, not a gallows. Gallows are the, but I wouldn't wear that around my neck. It's kind of gruesome and weird when you really stop to think about it. But also, Jesus is not the only person who was ever crucified. Like, a lot of people were crucified. So it's just weird that his manner of death is the symbology that the Christianity decided this is what we're gonna put everywhere. And it's just a medieval torture device. Like, it's wild. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh my God. It was a dog. Okay, guys, Jesus did not drop that thing on the floor. It was probably, most likely, that dog. It's a cute dog. Great job, dog. You did it.
And I was like,
oh, another dog.
I have no words. That was him. I've often had thoughts or feelings where I'm like, I don't know if that was him. I don't know if that was him. While I was like, it was like, that was him. I could like see his head. Like, not what it looked like, but it was like a figure. It was like his head and then shoulders.
Okay, but remember when I, like, literally just said that Jesus is not the only person who's ever been crucified? I mean, I get it, like, she's saying that this all happened while she was praising the Lord and listening to gospel music or Christian music or whatever it is she listens to, spiritual, whatever the fuck. So it's like, oh, this makes sense that I'm praising this being that I believe in, and suddenly I'm going to see the symbology that I associate with that historical figure and Sky Daddy. So it makes sense why she's putting two and two together in her head. But like I said, a lot of people throughout history have been crucified. It could be anyone. And she just said, like, oh, I not his face. I didn't see his face. I just knew it was him. What if it wasn't? What if you're being visited by like some spirit of a 2,000-year-old ghost that was also crucified in the same way as Jesus, because that's what they did back then. Like, it's just bizarre.
I just had to let you know. King's, oh, he's here. He's alive. Dude. I just ran to try to recreate what I saw. This is what I saw, like as best as I can explain it. That's what I saw.
Okay, so if this is what she saw, this is an outline of a body, it could be anybody! Also, like, I don't know, I just watched Stranger Things, so this is fresh in my mind, but it's like in Elle's mind when everything's all black, and then she just sees like one person. That's like what this is, except it's some guy on a medieval torture device. Like, and also her monitor is dirty. I just reached up to clean it because I thought it was my monitor. No, it's hers. What is that? How did that get on there? Anyway, that's the end of this video. Honestly, compared to all the other ones we're gonna watch today, this one was tame. You know what it reminds me of? Did you guys ever see, and I'll, you know what, I'll find it and put it on the screen, but you know those pictures that you're supposed to like look at, like focus on the 3 dots and then look at it for 30 seconds and close your eyes? There's one where it's like Jesus. I specifically remember, actually, I was in 6th grade and someone put that in front of me and it blew my mind. I was like, I think I just saw Jesus, but it's like, no, it was just some weird like optical illusion thing. And it's got the yellow and everything too. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like a yellow, it's not a bright white light, it's like yellow because it's the inside of your eyelid. Well, I guess people with different skin tones would have a different color, maybe, I don't know. But like when I close my eyes, if I have like sunspots or something, it's like a yellow light, you know what I mean? Girl was probably just like deeply focused on some picture of Jesus or I don't know, something, and then she closes her eyes and she sees this. That's my closest explanation. And I am of the belief that all of these things that Christians say, assuming that they're telling the truth and that this actually happened to them or they actually experienced this, I absolutely believe that everything has a logical explanation. That's what makes the most sense to me with this one. Anyway, with these next, I want to say 2 or 3 of them I have, there is a similarity between all of these, and we will get to that. Leave me a comment and let me know if you figure out what these next few videos share about their experiences meeting Jesus, because it's a really interesting phenomenon, if you will, to me, and I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to that. But anyway, yeah, so let's watch this one. And also, just so you know, when I found this one on TikTok, a lot of Christian accounts like reposted this being like, Jesus is real. So it's just bizarre, and it's to me, I'm like, this isn't even a good video. Like, this isn't even like moving at all. I don't know, maybe if I was still in the Christian mindset I would feel differently, but I don't think so. But yeah, this one got reposted a lot. This is a very successful I met Jesus video in the realm of TikTok. Let's watch.
I literally just met Jesus Christ. This is the second time I'm filming this. I was like too stunned to speak the first time, but
I literally just met Jesus Christ. Like, let me take off my hat.
Literally.
Wow. I'm clocking out of work, and right before I clock out of work, my manager tells me, hey, there's some extra food. Do you want to take it? I'm like, I can't take it. Within my heart, I'm like, I can't take it. But, I mean, the Holy Spirit tells me from within.
So this was posted on December 19th, and he's like, it's fasting season? I mean, I get that it's coming up on Christmas, but I didn't realize that. First of all, I didn't realize that fasting had a season. I know there are certain like holidays and stuff that certain beliefs fast for. As someone who was raised in a very Christian family, I never once have been told I needed to fast. Nor have I been told it's a fasting season. And there's probably gonna be people in comments being like, oh yeah, well duh, like were you really a real Christian if like you never knew what fasting season was? Like, but this just goes to show that there's so many denominations of Christianity and they all like practice and believe different things. And if that's not a concern to you, then I don't know what to tell you, dude. This kid must like work at a restaurant or something. A manager says, hey, there's extra food. He says, I can't take it, but obviously he's gonna take it. So let's keep going.
I've prepared somebody to receive this food, right, from you. But I'm like, okay, this kind of sounds stupid. Why would I do this, right?
What do you mean it sounds stupid? First of all, okay, I know I'm pausing a lot here. I'm sorry. But him being like, okay, the Holy Spirit sent me a message in my head and said, I've prepared someone to receive this food from you. Dude, that is a thing called your subconscious or your inner dialogue, inner narrative, whatever you want to call it. When I was a Christian, I always, all the time, I guess you could say confused my inner dialogue, my subconscious thoughts with Jesus, like that. And I think that's a very common thing that a lot of people in these very religious sects believe. If you grow up believing that like Jesus is sending you messages, God is real, he's sending you messages, he's always watching, he's always there, he's there to guide you. When you get like a seemingly random thought pop into your brain as a Christian, and you know, I'm not going to say that every single person who believes in God like has the same experience, but for me anyway, and I know a lot of other people, as a Christian, it's just like the first thing you think of is like, oh, this is a message from God. Okay, so whatever is going on in my head right now, God wants me to do this, God is trying to influence my actions right now, and I have to do it. Like, that's what this is. And it even goes so far as like, you've seen those people who are like serial killers, or even just someone who like killed one person and they're like, well, God told me to because I got a message from God. Like, you literally had an intrusive thought that you acted on. That's the thing, is that intrusive thoughts you're not supposed to act on. And that's a really bad intrusive thought. A lot of people have really bad intrusive thoughts. I have bad intrusive thoughts sometimes. Have I ever acted on them? No, not to that extent anyway. Most people, I think, don't go that far. But I guess what I'm saying is this guy had an intrusive thought. You should take the food anyway and then just see if there's someone that you meet who will need it. I don't know how much food it was. I don't know what kind of food it was, whatever. But this is literally him listening to his subconscious and being like, God's telling me to do something. God is influencing my actions right now and I must go do it. No, you're having a thought in your head that was created by your subconscious and that's what you're doing. Like, okay.
Just listen to some random voice in my heart. I didn't even know, right? I didn't even know this was gonna happen. Sorry if the audio is bad, but I didn't even know. I'll just go ahead and listen. I'll put the food in my bag and I'll leave work. But as I'm about to leave, the Holy Spirit tells me to take a different route, right? I take a different route and I'm just continuously going and going and going. And I merge into the main road that I used to go back home, right? And my scooter's right there. I just kind of parked it, but yeah, I merged and I met this person, right? I'm like so stunned. I'm like, oh, this food must be for this person. But they were standing right next to a bus stop. And I said, hey man, do you want some food? And he was like, no. And he looked like somebody with like a hat, like he had a bag on. He looked like some normal dude, right? And I didn't want to disturb him. He said no, and I just went about my business. Sure enough, like right down the street, what time is it? Like 1 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m., right? Right down the street, I meet a homeless person pushing a cart, a shopping cart. Like, I don't even see this all the time. Like, I clock out of work.
Hold on. I don't see this all the time, but you just said you took a brand new route home that you don't usually take. Yeah, you don't see it all the time because you don't go that way. Like, what? I don't know. It's getting a little fishy here. Also, can we talk about the fact that he walked up to another random person first before this happened? And he's like, hey man, you want some food? And the guy's like, no. If I was alone and some random person was like, hi, it's 1 a.m. Would you like some food? I would not take food from a random person, but I'm also well fed, I guess. Like, I'm not hungry. So, you know, desperation plays a role in this, of course, and I'm not hating on any of that. He says he met a homeless person pushing a shopping cart. In that situation, I think any of them would be like, yeah, sure, I'll take food, because I don't come across it as much as more privileged people do, I guess. But that first guy, he's like, he just looked like a normal dude and he didn't want my food. It's like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I would be weirded out. I think that that was like code for a drug deal or something, you know? No, I don't want your food, you know? I don't know.
This never happens, right? But I see this homeless person and I start to, I was like, whoa, could this be? And I offer them the food, right?
I don't know where this guy lives, but like, I don't know, maybe I don't live in the best part of town, all right? But like, I see homeless people a lot. Like, welcome to America. I feel like they're all over the place. Like, maybe if this guy lives in a really nice part of town, and then there are parts of town where I live that don't have homeless people. I don't know, it's like common. I've never seen a homeless person been like, whoa, this can't be happening right now. Like, no, welcome to America. A lot of people don't have shelter. Why are you acting so surprised? Like, he's acting like this homeless person was put in front of me by divine intervention. And it's like, a lot of people are homeless. Like, what?
And she said, okay, yeah, I mean, I'll take it. And I'm there like, wow, you never know what listening to the Holy Spirit does. Because I literally met Jesus Christ. And he said, did you feed me when I was hungry? I'll put the verse over here. I'll put the verse right here. But
oh, Jesus Christ. Does he think that this homeless person was Jesus? I think he thinks this homeless person was Jesus. Yeah, these Matthew verses, Christians spout these off all the time. It's paused on the screen. You can read it if you want. And I'm not gonna dog on this guy for doing a good deed. Like, he helped someone that night, and good for him. Honestly, that is the Christian thing to do. If you have the opportunity to help another person, you're supposed to do it. That's, you know, what the Bible teaches you. If you're a Christian specifically, Jesus put forward his own commandments, his 2 commandments, which was trust in the Lord with all your heart and love thy neighbor. Those are the 2 things that Jesus was like, if you want to believe in me, these are the 2 things you have to do. Guys, my camera randomly just turned off and stopped recording. It never does that. It's a sign from God. He doesn't want me making this video, guys. Like, that's a sign from God.
I was like, wow, I'm telling this friend, I'm like literally meeting Jesus Christ through you. Like, I'm so honored, right? And I'm just sitting there talking to them for like 2 minutes.
You said that to them? Okay, let me get this straight. You walked up to a homeless person on the street and offered them food. Good for you. That's fine, great. They said, yeah, sure, I'll take the food. And you said, Jesus, is that you? A homeless person who wants food? What? This can't be happening right now. And then he was like, it's an honor, sir. He said this person was a woman. So it's like, it's an honor to meet you, Jesus. And listen, like, there's obviously stereotypes around unhoused people who are not mentally healthy, I guess. And is that the case a lot of times? Yes, a lot of times they are on drugs, but that's not like everybody. I know that there are a lot of people who are unhoused who just like, they just don't have a place to go because they can't afford a roof over their head. Again, welcome to America. So I know that stereotype, I guess, is not true across the board. A lot of these people are homeless because they fell deep into some really bad shit and are mentally ill, which is terrible. I don't think those people should go homeless. I think that they need help, and, you know, more privileged and powerful people should be helping those people. But okay, whatever, that's a whole different topic. My point is, this person could have been someone who, I mean, you know, walking around at 1 o'clock in the morning by yourself instead of like sleeping, perhaps that might point to some kind of like insomnia. They're unable to sleep, and a lot of times that can be attributed to some mental health problems and things. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that this person could have been mentally ill, and he's just sitting here like, you're Jesus. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Like, put that delusion into that person's head now and see what happens. Like, good idea. But if this person was a completely mentally healthy person and just was down on their luck and can't afford to house themselves like many people are, this person is probably just like, thanks for the food. Thanks. All right. Yeah. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jesus. Yeah. Okay. It's a weird situation, no matter what angle you look at it from.
And I give him the food and I just go about my day. Now, standing here, probably people think I'm crazy, but you never know what your obedience does. You never know what it does for that person or how it grows your faith. It's beautiful. Obedience is beautiful, and wow, it's amazing, right? How you can really meet Christ through people. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Take care.
So that was shared a lot. For whatever reason, that particular video spoke to a lot of people to the point where they shared it a bazillion times. That was totally Jesus, sir. Certainly the only time any homeless people appear on the streets, they're always Jesus. Come on. All right, here's another one. Oh yeah, this is a stitch from the last video we just watched. Again, someone just like reshared this, but it's a stitch, so they'll get into it.
This is the
I didn't realize it until I just watched this video, but me and my wife did too. On Christmas night, we were gonna go film our podcast. We were gonna do an episode, and we stopped at Zane's. This is a Lebanese food restaurant to get some coffee because we were tired for some reason. It was like 5 or 6 p.m. It was right before it closed, and one of the workers at Zane's, because we go there all the time, I know him, he gave me 5 big meals of these huge, like Lebanese food wraps. It was 4 huge wraps or something like that, and 2 platters.
Okay, he just put out 3 different numbers. First he said 5 big meals, and then he said 4 wraps, and then 2 platters. Okay, that would be 6. So was it 4, 5, or 6?
And he gave it to me. I'm like, what am I gonna do? We just had a Christmas dinner, and he's like, I don't know, just take it. And I'm like, babe, what are we gonna do? Well, we were on our way to downtown Toledo, so like, we'll find somebody. So we start driving through downtown Toledo. At first, we don't see nobody, and I'm like, my studio's downtown, so I'm like, I know there's homeless people over here or something, but we don't know what you don't know what homeless people look like. So we seen 2 people like, we don't know what.
You don't know what homeless people look like, but you literally just got done saying, my studio's downtown and I know there's homeless people there. How do you know they're homeless if you don't know what homeless people look like? This doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Also, I feel like this is exactly what most normal people would think. Like, if you're at a restaurant that you frequent a lot, by the way, and one of the people who knows you there would be like, we have extra food. I'm gonna offer it to you first since you're a customer that comes here a lot. You would either be like, oh no, I can't take all that. And you know, if the thing is like, you either take it or we're throwing it away, I guess I would take it too and just eat it as leftovers. Like, I don't know. I guess that's just what an average person would think. But you know, if you're a good person, you would think, yeah, give me that extra food and I'll go find someone who needs it. Which, great. I'm not hating on that. That's great. I'm just saying, so far this guy's not making any sense. He doesn't know basic math and he doesn't know what homeless people look like, even though he knows that homeless people exist around the studio where he goes to.
And then the Holy Spirit just told me, like, babe, just ask people if they're hungry.
Did the Holy Spirit call you babe? That's weird. It's just a weird thing of the Holy Spirit to say, babe, go ask if people are hungry.
Just ask people if they're hungry. And we start asking people if they're hungry. And one lady told us no. But God, no, but Merry Christmas. And we're like, okay, Merry Christmas. And I just start asking God, I start praying, God, show us people that are hungry. Show us people that are hungry.
I'm sorry, where are the tears? You're making noises with your mouth that suggest that you should be crying, but there are 0 tears. It just feels very performative, and I hate this. Also, again, going up to people who look like they might be hungry and asking them if they're hungry, and they're like, no. But I don't know, he did say he doesn't know what homeless people look like, so damn, I don't fucking know.
And then we just kept turning corners, and then I seen somebody far away, and I was like, look, there's someone there. Man, I can't find the key. And then we found someone that was hungry. And then he was like, yeah. And we gave him one of the subs. And he ate the sub. And I gave him $20 to bless him. And then we had 3 more. So then we kept driving. And I was like, God, send us people that are hungry. God, send us people that are hungry. And then God sent us 3 more people, and we found 4 people, and we blessed them with all the food, and we gave each person $20 on Christmas night, and we blessed them, and we just went and we did the podcast. So we did 2 we fed 4 people by listening to the Holy Spirit, and just that restaurant giving us all that food, and we just listened, and we just went exactly. We just listened to what we had to do, and he guided us to 4 people that were hungry on Christmas night, and we blessed them. God blessed them. God blessed us to bless them on Christmas night. God bless you.
There's so much to unpack with this video because, again, performative as fuck. Don't make those mouth noises if you're not going to be crying actual tears. What are you doing? Secondly, this story sounds to me like, because, and here's what we always say, it's like, why don't people just do good deeds and like just do it to do it and like not go around and like tell people about the good deeds that you're doing? Because once you start doing these videos about like here's, or even making just like any like a text post on social media, like I donated to this person, I gave this person wasn't needing, I did this, it is self-gratifying, and it's not an entirely selfless action when you do that, because basically what you're doing is putting on display for everybody who follows you on social media to be like, look at how good of a person I am. I was given free food, and instead of declining it or eating it myself, I walked around and I found people who were hungry. The other thing is, these people act like nobody's hungry. These people act like homeless people are just very few and far between. You never see homeless people. What are you talking about, dude? Homeless people are everywhere. I'm gonna freaking Google it, man. So this is from 2024, and it's certainly gotten worse since this article came out. This says 771,480 people, around 23 out of every 10,000 Americans. That's not nothing, dude. Oh, and that was an increase of 18% in that year. Total homeless population in the United States rose 32.5% over 2 years. Gee, I wonder why that could be. And my point is like, you can't sit here and act like you've never seen homeless people like in the United States. I'm sorry, but they're everywhere. There's panhandlers all over the place, especially in major cities. I just find it so bizarre that these people are like, praise God, I knew where to find homeless people, and I went there and there were homeless people there. It's like, I knew that there were homeless people always around my studio, so I went to that area and like God put homeless people there. No, you knew that there were homeless people there. Like, and again, great job feeding people who are less fortunate than you. Great job. Love that for you. You did a good deed. Fabulous. You didn't have to go on TikTok and post about it. You didn't have to tell everybody that you know how good of a person you are by listening to your subconscious and going to a place where you know people are going to be hungry and then offering them food. Is that a good deed? Yes. Glad you did it. Fabulous. But it's also self-serving on your end too, because it made you feel good. It made you feel so good that you were like, I need to go to TikTok and make sure everybody knows how good of a deed this was. And you know what? Let me look and see how many followers this guy has. 7,000 followers. That's not nothing. He has a podcast. Oh, he has a YouTube channel too. 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, that's, thousands of people who are gonna see this video and be like, wow, look at, you're such a good person. Oh my God, you're such a blessing. Oh yeah, and speaking of the blessing thing, of course he had to add in oh, by the way, I gave these people $20 also. Wow. See, that's a detail you didn't have to add in, but the only reason you added in, and you were very specific about, yeah, I gave everyone exactly $20, is because it adds to the narrative of how good of a person you are. I hate it. I hate everything about that. No, not everything. I like that you're helping people, and I like that allegedly, if this all actually happened the way you said it did, I'm glad that people were blessed by you. I'm glad that you were able to disperse food and money to people who were less fortunate than you. That's great. Making content about it though, this ain't it. Just do a good deed. Just live like Jesus. Because at the very least, yeah, we have the Bible, which is supposedly a historical account of Jesus and his life and the good deeds he did. But it was written by other people who are like, I saw Jesus do this thing. Jesus wasn't running around being like, dear diary, today I healed a blind man. And then that got put into the Bible. No, like they're supposedly eyewitness accounts or whatever.
Sure, Jan.
Of people witnessing Jesus doing, blessing all these people and doing all these things. It's like Jesus wasn't going around bragging. Actually, as a matter of fact, the Bible says that you should not be a performative Christian. I don't think the giving food to homeless people is the performative part. The performative part is going onto a public social media platform and telling everybody about how good you are. Here's another one.
I went to New York for my birthday. And while we were walking down the street of, I think 42nd Street, I saw a man that looked homeless. He had been beaten up. This man had been beaten up. He had bruises and fresh blood on his skin. He was wearing pants but had no top on. He had no shirt, nothing. And if you've ever been to New York in the winter, you know it is freezing cold.
I went to New York in February one time, and it was the coldest I think I've ever been. I think anyone would be concerned walking around in sub-freezing temperatures and seeing someone who doesn't have clothing on the top half of their body. I don't know, I guess New York's a little different. Everybody's kind of in their own heads and on a mission to go somewhere or do something. Very important people in New York. I guess it's just not unusual. Like, you're not the only good person in the world who would see someone on a sub-freezing day without a jacket and be like, uh-oh, that person needs help.
I see this man and I don't even think twice. I don't even blink, and I say, oh my God, this man is cold. And I take off my jacket because I was wearing a sweater and I was wearing a jacket on top of that sweater. That's how cold it was. And then someone was just sitting there with no shirt. I didn't think twice. I took off my jacket and I gave it to my sister and I said, could you please give it to him? Because she's one of those people that is very outgoing. She would talk to strangers on the street. So I knew that she could do it. So she approaches this man and he tells her, go away from me, I don't want any problems. And she's like, no, you're okay, I just want to give you something to put on because it's cold. And he immediately felt so calm and he collected the jacket and he put it on. And he was like, I'm so sorry for the way I approached you, but it was just a reaction because people are always trying to hurt me. I felt so sad for this man. He walked away and I completely forgot about this. This was in October.
Girl, you did not forget about this. That's cool if you're well off and you have like other overcoats you can wear and stuff and you're totally okay with like parting with that article of clothing to help another person. That's great. But that shit's expensive and like you gave it away and never saw it again and you're just gonna be like, yeah, I forgot about it. I don't think so. I don't think you completely forgot about it. Anyway.
I've never told anyone this. The law said when you give something with your right hand, your left hand shouldn't even know about it, right? So there was never a reason for me to brag to people that I did this because that was never the point, right? So
I mean, but what are you doing right now, right?
I never told anybody until this day. Only I and my sister knew that this happened in New York. I never told a soul until the Holy Spirit reminded me of it a few days ago. He gave me a vision and he told me, you're going to clothe people in the street. I just started my clothing brand where I make faith-based clothings. And so the Lord is telling me you're going to put clothes on naked people on the street. You're going to put clothes on homeless people who cannot afford to buy clothes. And I'm like, Lord, where is that coming from? And he reminds me,
please, for the love of all things good in this world, Pippi, please. You too, Pippi. Please stop rubbing on my microphone. You're so cute. You know what this is? This is your subconscious. Because this was an experience you had that you actually allegedly did. You went to New York and gave a homeless person an expensive article of clothing. You did not forget about this. And even if like it's not something that you think about all the time and be like, I'm such a good person, you still experienced it. It's a memory that you had. And I know that because you're able to recount it. If you forgot all about it, you wouldn't be able to recount it in such detail like this. And then my sister said this. And then the man said this. And like you would not be able to recount something that you completely forgot about, especially if it was only 2 months ago, because she was saying like, oh, that was in October, now it's December. This was in 2023, by the way, but it's still a relevant video. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Do you think we're stupid? You really expect us to believe that this happened and you never thought about it again, and then suddenly you think about it again 2 months later and you're like, it's Jesus. No, it's a memory you have and your mind is reminding you of it. And quite frankly, I think she thought about it a lot. And I think she, again, while it was very nice of her to do, these kind of good deeds are not entirely selfless. I think you felt really good helping that person that day. And you should. You know what? You should. That was a really nice thing for you to do. But the direction this is going, it's getting a little too weird for me.
I truly forgot about it until the Lord reminded me. And so he was like, that homeless man you saw in New York and you took off your jacket and put on his body, that was me. Do you know how many people passed me by in the street of New York? If you've ever been to New York, you know New York is a busy place. There are so many people you can barely move. He said, do you know how many people?
Okay, first of all, not in the winter. I've been there in the winter. People don't want to go to New York in the winter generally. That's why we went in the winter, because the plane tickets were very cheap and the hotels were very cheap. That's why we went in February. Please, please, please. This is your subconscious. It's so obvious. This is not the Holy Spirit speaking to you 2 months later to remind you of a good deed you did and be like, by the way, that was me. Stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's too much. It's too much. I'm taking this as she thought about a thing that she did one time that was really nice, that she certainly didn't forget, but she's gonna try to pretend she forgot about it. And then it randomly popped into your head 2 months later, like as if it was a lifetime ago. And suddenly, oh, wow, that must have been Jesus. It's like, that's what happened. That's what happened. You convinced yourself that that was Jesus and not just some random homeless person in New York. Like, it's wild. It's wild.
People saw me sitting there naked in the cold and did not offer me their jackets. You did. You saw me. That was me. That's what the Lord told me. And then immediately he referenced me back to this place in the Bible. It's Matthew 26. You can read it if you want.
What did I tell you? They all quote this verse. Oh yeah, that was another thing I forgot to mention when I was just ranting and raving a second ago. Oh, you have a clothing line? How convenient. I just started my own clothing line. It's all Jesus stuff. How convenient that this story just so happened to happen right now. You just so happen to remember this story of a time that you gave a jacket to a homeless man right as you're launching your clothing line. Wow! It's almost like you're looking for your demographic. You know your demographic, actually. You know who they are and where to find them. You used all the hashtags. Let's see. She got hashtag For You page, hashtag Christianity TikTok, hashtag testimony. You know exactly what you're doing, sis. I'm sorry, but the fact that there's a very obvious incentive to be telling this story on social media right now doesn't exactly come off as genuine to me, anyway. Maybe I'm just being a negative Nancy here, but I don't believe it. Well, of course I don't believe it. I'm an atheist, but no, I don't believe that you are retelling this story in the way it actually happened. I don't believe you when you say you never thought about it again. I don't believe you when you said you heard a voice in your head that was like, I am Jesus, I was Jesus. No, this is your subconscious. You are remembering a memory, and now you're posting it on TikTok in order to drive people to purchase from you with your clothing line. I hate to have this kind of like negative thought when someone is doing something good for another person. The last thing you want to think about is like, well, what are you getting out of this? But truly, honestly, how could I not think this? You moved out of the way and you're like, here's my clothing line, by the way. Dude, either you think we're stupid or your God thinks we're stupid, or maybe you both think we're stupid and we're just all supposed to sit here and be like, yeah, this checks out. It was definitely Jesus. The fuck? No?
When you can help people, when you're in a position to help someone, when you have the means to be a blessing to someone, do it. Don't think twice. Your reward does not come from that person. Your reward does not come from the world. Your reward comes from the Lord.
Okay, that was the end of that video. The other thing that I'm finding very strange here is that she's talking about a reward here, right? When you're doing a good deed for someone, and you just want to be a nice person, you're not thinking about a reward, because then it's not a good deed anymore. Then it's like, it's not selfless anymore. You're doing it because you're expecting a reward. And in this case, the reward would be going to heaven. It's wild. It is so bizarre to be out of that world of Christianity, this indoctrination, to be out of it and see this kind of stuff for what it really truly is. It's wild, because back when I was in it, I would have never thought this. I would have never considered that this person was just saying all these things because they have something to gain from it. And if the thing that they had to gain from it was, eternity in heaven, then in my Christian head, I would have thought, well, yeah, of course. Well, that's what we do. We're Christians. We help people. Duh. It's just really interesting to be on the other side of it now and be like, wait a minute. You got some ulterior motives here. So remember when I said earlier, like, hey, what do these stories have in common? The last 3 ones we watched, Jesus always appeared to these people as a homeless man. Can we ask ourselves, why is Jesus to these people always appearing as a homeless man? It's never somebody who needs help in another way. It is someone who has nothing. Someone who can't afford to live, literally, which there are a lot of those people in this day and age. Welcome to late stage capitalism in America. Oh my god, someone just decided they're gonna start doing yard work right now, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. But anyway, my point is, when people tell these stories, the first thing is always like, Jesus appeared to me as a homeless man. And let's be completely and totally honest with ourselves. The hypocrisy is wild with these people. And I don't know this girl's voting record. I don't know anyone's voting record. When it comes down to people who make this kind of content, like, they are making their entire personality about loving Jesus. And those people need to tie their political beliefs into that belief as well, which is very hypocritical because they almost always, I'm not going to say every Christian is a right-winger, because I know that's not true. My grandma is a very devout Christian, has always been a very devout Christian. One of my grandmas is far down the maggot rabbit hole. But my other grandma has always voted, she's like an establishment Democrat voter, you know, she's in her 80s. My grandma does not like Donald Trump, and she does not like Republicans. She doesn't, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say she doesn't like Republicans. She doesn't like their belief system. And I like to think that I got some of my doses of reality from her being in my life. She's great. I love my grandma. She's fantastic. And she is a devout Christian who doesn't vote Republican. So I know that they exist out there, but we would be kidding ourselves if we said, oh yeah, Christians are generally, you know, leftist voters. Because they're not in America anyway. In Christianity, you know, you can thank Ronald Reagan for being the guy to be like, hey, Republicans are the party of Christianity here in America, so you better jump on board. Also, welcome to Reaganomics, that is going to fucking destroy the fucking world. Anyway, my point is, today's Christian voting bloc objectively and factually leans right. Not even leans. They fall pretty hard right. And when we're talking about right-wing policies that these people are voting for, they're giving tax cuts to billionaires. They're cutting social safety nets. They're cutting social services that help homeless people. Not just homeless people. I mean, people might have a home, but they don't have access to childcare. People who need help getting food. Yeah, you know what? We're talking about people who need food, and then they're gonna go and defund food stamps and SNAP. I don't think it's a radical thing for me to be saying any of this. Like, this is very well documented, like very obviously happening. American Christians today are widely hypocritical. So I find it very interesting and self-serving that these people are always like, oh yeah, I got one extra meal and I gave it to a homeless person. I had an extra jacket, so I gave it to a homeless person. I'm such a good person. But meanwhile, they vote for politicians who are actively helping to keep these people homeless, keeping them unable to dig themselves out of this capitalist hellscape that we all live in right now, that we're all fucking struggling to survive in. And honestly, can we talk about the fucking homelessness, like, concentration camps that are being tested right now? Like, this is not a fucking conspiracy. Look it up. Specifically, the one I'm thinking of, I believe, is in Salt Lake City. That's kind of like the testing ground. People are gonna say that I'm being too hyperbolic or I'm being fear-mongery with this, but I'm sorry, it is a concentration camp. Salt Lake City, Mormon capital of the world too, by the way, which Mormon and Christianity, I know that people argue, like, it's not the same thing. Okay, Mormonism is a branch off of Christianity, and if you are gonna argue that, you're just wrong. But Mormons love Jesus too. But anyway, Salt Lake City. Yeah, they are going to be testing a place where they put the homeless population out of sight, out of mind, into literally a concentration camp. It is a concentration of homeless people that they are putting all in one place so that none of us ever have to deal with them again. We don't have to see them. We can just pretend they don't exist. And whose idea was this? The right. The right is the party who's proposing that we literally put homeless people into camps. Like, this is happening whether you want to admit it or not, dude. And of course, when you read the news articles and you hear people talk about this on fucking state-run propaganda media, they're like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be a good resource for the... No, you are not rehabilitating these people when you're putting them into these camps. You are trying to get them off the streets so we don't have to look at them anymore. You are trying to take that issue out of sight, out of mind. What are you talking about? What homeless... We don't have homeless people in Salt Lake City. What are you talking about? Yeah, because you put them all in a camp. My point is, if Jesus is always appearing as a homeless person and you're putting all homeless people into concentration camps, who are you going to help now? Who are you going to give your jacket to now to be able to go onto TikTok and then brag about how you gave someone your jacket? Who are you going to give food to? If they're all in a camp somewhere that you can't see them anymore, no one even remembers that they exist anymore because they've all been placed out of the rest of our society not even treated like humans at this point. Who's gonna help Jesus now? If you're gonna put Jesus in a concentration camp, who's gonna feed them? If you can't give them your jackets and your extra food, who's going to? The government? You think the government's gonna do that? Not right now, they're not. The hypocrisy is insane. These people widely vote for that. They vote for getting homeless people off the street so we don't have to deal with them anymore, putting them in a little camp all by themselves because we don't believe in government handouts. No, we don't. But Jesus tells you to go give an extra wrap to a homeless person. And there you go. There's your good deed for the year. Better go on TikTok and make sure you tell everyone you did that. I'm sorry, but if you can't see the hypocrisy, I don't know how to help you. It's so obvious to me what's going on here. If you really truly wanted to help people, you would be voting for politicians and legislation that actually helps people get back on their feet. Instead, you're voting to keep people oppressed. That's what the right does. If you want to truly help people who are down on their luck, vote for politicians who are happy to give out food stamps. Vote for legislation that actually helps people. Vote for legislation that doesn't bankrupt people with medical bills. Vote for legislation that doesn't cost an arm and a leg to go to school and then they end up, being in poverty their entire lives because they're trying to pay off their school debt forever. If you want to help homeless people, if you want to reduce the amount of people who are homeless, you're not going to be voting for the right. I'm fucking sorry. No, actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for saying any of this. I don't care. So yeah, in case you didn't get the message, that's the similarity that I was talking about earlier. Yeah. I think we have 2 more to watch. Now this one is interesting because her meeting Jesus comes from a near-death experience. Now, near-death experience stories are always very interesting to me. There has been a study, I think it's called like the AWARE study or something like that. I don't know. You can look it up. There is a study that has been ongoing. I think they've done multiple tests of this where a hospital team, they'll put like notes or a picture or like a shape up in high places, because all of these near-death experiences, people say that they are having out-of-body experiences where they're floating up towards the ceiling and they can see themselves and they can see the doctors working on them and they can blah, 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 whatever. These studies that have gone on will place something high up that only someone who was up on the ceiling could see. And then they have these cardiac arrests or, they're on the operating table. These are placed in operating rooms where they are like emergency rooms saving someone's life, okay? Most likely place for someone to experience a near-death experience. To my knowledge, I don't think anyone has ever been like explaining in great detail this experience they had while they almost died. Not a single one of them has been like, oh, and also there was a picture of a triangle on top of that thing over there. Like none of them have ever been able to say that they saw this or that, like this object that has been placed, So what that suggests is it's all in your brain. When you're having a near-death experience, and I am not an expert on this at all, but here's my very basic understanding. If you're having a near-death experience, you're likely, maybe your brain isn't receiving as much oxygen as it normally would, or, something is going on where your body is trying to fight death, where your mind is behaving in a way that we, quite frankly, scientifically don't really understand yet. In general, like science doesn't really understand what happens inside the brain while you're dying, because most people like die and then never get to come back and tell the story. So the people who do survive are like, oh, I did die and here's what my experience was, I came back, those people always have similar stories. I was floating. I saw a bright light. I felt warmth. I felt, studies need to be done on this stuff, but you can't like force people to have a near-death experience so you can study them. That's very unethical. So that's not a thing that has happened. My point is, we may never understand what the body goes through and what the mind goes through while it's experiencing something so traumatic. So keep all that in mind while this woman is talking about her near-death experience where she's meeting Jesus.
This is the story of how I met Jesus. So I believed in Jesus before this. I believed in Jesus after this, and I believe in Jesus now. So when I was in the hospital, I got taken back to have a spinal tap, and I looked with what I thought was my physical eyes down a hallway, and I saw a doctor walking towards me.
I'm sorry, one second. With what you thought were your physical eyes? What other eyes do you have?
Whispering eye. And your whispering eye.
It means vagina.
What is the chakra that people are like the all-seeing eye or whatever it's called? That sounds very like witchcrafty.
He was in blue doctor's scrubs, so all I could see was, he had on a blue mask, totally scrubbed out, the shoe covers, the whole deal. And he's walking towards me, totally normal. And as he gets closer, he holds out his hands by his sides like this as he's getting closer to me. And I noticed that there's some deep tissue scarring that he has. So it was like right here, just really deep tissue scarring on both of his hands. It almost looked like if you see someone who gets burned really severely and their skin heals, just that scarring and that pulling.
I know we're talking about Jesus here, who isn't exactly human, supposedly some kind of spiritual whatever. And a lot of these stories feature, Jesus being a normal person, a person who acts normally in given situations. What normal person is gonna walk up to you and do this? Hi, I'm your doctor. I'm wearing a pentagram shirt. That's interesting. It's from Blackcraft Cult, if you were wondering. Anyway, yeah, normal people don't walk like this. Hi, I'm your doctor. Nice to meet you. I'm your doctor. That's not normal behavior. And quite frankly, if your doctor is, maybe has something going on with them where they are always holding their hands out like this, maybe they're great with their hands. The doctors really should be very especially if they're a doctor who's sent to you to save your life. They should probably have a really steady hand and like normal usage of their hands. But walking around like this isn't like that's not giving me any confidence. Also, deep tissue scarring, if you were seriously severely injured here, I would be concerned about nerve damage and maybe not having full control of your hands, Oh, but it's Jesus, so it's okay. Spoiler alert, the doctor's Jesus.
He walks up to me, and in my hospital bed, my head is here and I'm on my stomach because I'm about to get a spinal tap, so my body is laying this way, so head to legs that way, and the doctor is here, and then he walks to this side of my body, and I am looking at him like this, and I realize that I'm actually not in my physical body, right? Because I'm looking like this. I look up and we lock eyes. I immediately knew that it was Jesus. It was the most overwhelming feeling and experience that I've ever had in my life. He just was looking at me, and I could tell that he was smiling under his mask. Like a closed mouth, like just warm smile, even though I couldn't see it.
If you couldn't see it, how could you know he was smiling? I mean, a doctor's mask covers everything but their eyes, I mean, I guess, Tyra Banks always says you can smize. Maybe he was he was smizing at you, girl. Girl, Jesus was smizing.
His eyes were like a green kind of color. He had brown, kind of wavy, curled, like crimped hair.
Okay, and here's also how I know that you're full of shit. Because doctors, if they're getting ready to save your life, they have their hair tied back. It is a sanitary thing for doctors to have a hair cover to make sure that you are as uncontaminated by their own bodily things as possible, because that's what doctors do. If a doctor walked in ready to like operate on me and save my freaking life, or even just give me a spinal tap, are we saying that Jesus was the anesthesiologist walking around like this with deep scars on their hands? Like, it is a very delicate procedure to get a spinal tap. You're telling me that your anesthesiologist showed up, long hair, just flowing, holds his hands like this, probably has some kind of nerve damage. You're just like, yes, please stick a needle in my spinal cord. This is how I know this isn't real life. This was not a real person that you experienced. Doctors generally aren't smizing at you either right before they save your life, so.
Looked Arab, he looked Middle Eastern, which, is where he's from. So of course that's, his ethnicity, as he walked the earth. So we meet eyes, and then he takes his hands like this and he turns towards me, and I'm still facing him this way, and I'm looking at my body, and he slowly lowers his hands, and as soon as he touches my body, it's the most overwhelming feeling that I can only describe as Jesus Christ just touched you, and I immediately go back into my body and have the spinal tap. And that has been the most profound spiritual experience and encounter that I've ever had in my life. And I can tell you that the love of Jesus Christ that I felt in that moment, and the peace even reflecting on it now, just normal day-to-day life, earth side, if you will, it's overwhelming, even like feeling a portion of that, retelling the story. But in that moment, that is the best experience that I've ever had. And I hope that no one goes through the circumstances that I went through, but I do hope that if you've never met Jesus Christ before or had an encounter with him, that you open your heart up to seeking him and getting to know him and just asking him if he'll reveal himself to you.
Okay, that last part always pisses me off because, like, there are so many devout Christians that ask God every day to reveal himself to them, and he never has. So why are you so oh, well, she was about to die, so maybe that's why he's like, you're special enough, I'll reveal myself to you now. For the other people who aren't on their deathbed having a near-death experience, what makes them so special? Where it's like, well, they asked really nicely, I guess. You know, how come there are so many people who can ask so nicely for decades and never ever have an experience like this? What makes you so special? That always pisses me off. She's like, if you just ask him to show himself to you, he will. While I was losing my faith, and while I still am deconstructing to this day, every once in a while, because I've been so indoctrinated into this shit, it never really goes away. That's why I always say I'm like still actively deconstructing, because I don't know how long I will still find myself falling back on beliefs like this. Because every once in a while, I do still have a little prayer and I go, God, if you're out there, if I'm feeling really desperate and down in the dumps, it's like, okay, God, like, please send me a sign. You know I'm an atheist right now, but like, I am reaching out to you, begging you to show yourself so I believe in you again. I've done that multiple times. To this day, every once in a while, I will still do it because I really don't think that part of my brain will turn off, if that makes sense. That's just what deep indoctrination does. But no, I'm literally sitting here begging him to show me a sign. You know what? Some people would be like, oh, Savannah, well, your camera turned off while you were filming this video and you said that never happens, which is true. That like doesn't happen. And I don't know why that happened. People would be like, that's your sign. That was God. What she's describing, this experience is very like, she is certain that that was Jesus. She is certain that that experience happened, that it was real, that, you know, and she is certain that she met Jesus. I'm asking for something like that because like, this is my faith we're talking about. And if Jesus really wanted me to come to him, he would be answering my prayers. Like, what makes you so special? You already believe in him. You already are not wavering in your faith. I used to be a devout believer, and here I am, like, hey, losing faith here. Can you please give me something, man? Because right now, it's really feeling like this is all a lie. I guess he just doesn't want me to believe in him that much. So the other thing that I find really strange, and I guess the argument that people would make would be, well, Jesus is spiritual. He's not all human, so like things are just special and different with him, I guess, whatever. But scarring happens to a body that's alive. Jesus was killed, hung on a cross, allegedly died, and then allegedly was brought back to life, and it was like, oh, look, it is Jesus now. The body would need a lot of time being alive to make scarring like that she's describing, like years. Jesus allegedly died like right after what a day or two after being put up on the cross, and then died. His body didn't have time to create scars the way a human body would. So it's just really interesting that in this vision that this woman has of Jesus, he's got scars. When like, I would think that when he was resurrected, he was whipped and he was hurt and he had scratches and stuff all over. He probably would have a ton of scars all over. He was like beaten and tortured. He would have more than just scars on his hands. But you never hear about any of these people saying like, I met Jesus and yeah, he had this like weird scar right here. He had this weird scar on his back or like on his shoulder or whatever. You know, you never hear people saying that. But how convenient is it that he does have these scars on his wrists because, you know, or not his wrists, his palms, whatever. I find it strange. Bodies don't continue to scar up after they've died. I would assume because Jesus is the only person who's allegedly been resurrected and brought back to heaven. So I would assume that if God's gonna do that, like he makes his body pure again, like he is perfect. Isn't Jesus supposed to be perfect? Like he is a perfect human. He's the only perfect human. So when he was resurrected, wouldn't God have been like, let's cleanse all your impurities, cleanse all of the bad things that have harmed you, and you are now perfect in your perfect form. But he still has scars? Only these scars, though. We have one more to watch, and let me tell you, I saved the best for last. This one is wild. This video we're about to watch is the reason why I was like, I have to make this video. It's so stupid. It's bizarre. It's stupid. It's, yeah, anyway. All right, here it is from @PrayerWarriorHannah on TikTok.
I fasted social media for 10 days when I had a crippling addiction to it, and I was scared to even go one day without it while I was in Bible college. The reason why I did this is because I wanted to get closer to God, and I felt like so many people around me were encountering him and I wasn't. It's like maybe one of the reasons I'm not encountering him is because I'm not allowing enough time to go deeper with him, and maybe he wants more time out of me. So I put my phone down for 10 days, and the first day, absolutely rough. Second day, even worse. Third and fourth day, I started to get angry. I've never had to fight this hard to encounter your presence. It was that day that I picked my phone up again, the fourth day before I went into school. So I go into school, and the first part of our Bible college is that worship service, and then there's like prayer throughout it. And the song that's playing is called Mercy of God. I closed my eyes and I was like, God, I'm so sick of doing this fast. I felt guilty in that moment, and I was like, dang, can't believe I broke this fast because I didn't feel God's presence. Like, who am I to do that? Just sat down. All of a sudden, it's like it's almost in this like half dream like state. I started to see Jesus come through the center of the screen where the lyrics were. He started walking down the middle of the aisles to come to me, and I knew he was coming to me, and I immediately got emotional. He kneels right to me and just looks at me. I'd never stared in the face of Jesus before, but this was in the spirit. So it felt like slightly different. It didn't feel like my flesh.
You've never stared in the face of Jesus before, so how do you know this is different? If this is the one and only experience you've ever had, how do you know this is different? Different from what? What is your comparison? Anyway, no, trust me, this gets funny. This gets stupid.
Look at him, I like locked eyes with him. His eyes were almost like jet streams that went for miles. I was sobbing. I was so in awe. I hug him, and I just sat there and he hugged me back, and I couldn't get enough. I was squeezing him so tight. I literally was running my fingers through his hair. It was such like an intimate type of moment. After that whole moment.
Hold on, we have to process that. She had an intimate moment with Jesus. An intimate moment where she's running her fingers through his hair. This is a person she's never seen in her life. That she knows is Jesus. Well, I mean, of course, if he comes walking out of a screen with gospel lyrics on it, yeah, that's pretty abnormal. I guess you could easily be like, yeah, this must be Jesus because, like, normal people don't do this. It's, like, physically impossible, but since Jesus is a spiritual whatever, yeah, he can do that, so this must be Jesus. Okay, fine. I'll grant her that. But she's, like, in a room full of people. I'm just wondering, like, what is she doing? It's like, oh my God, not to bring up Stranger Things again. Oh my God, Savannah, stop it. It's like when Vecna is like possessing someone, and on the outside everyone sees just the person being like having like a moment like where their eyes roll in the back of their head and they're just kind of sitting there like twitching, but in their heads they're like going through all this crazy stuff that no one else can see. It's like if people were to look over at her while all this is happening, what are they seeing? Because she says she's sobbing. Is she just like you know? But also, back to a realistic state of mind here. Some dude that you've never seen, you've never laid eyes upon this man before. He walks up to you and kneels next to you, and your first instinct is to, first of all, fall into his arms, but start running your fingers through his hair? Girl, that's weird. But hold on to your butts, it still gets funnier. I mean, I wouldn't say that this necessarily has been funny so far, it's just kind of been a little bit concerning and weird. It's about to get funny.
He held out his hands. There were two like spherical structures of like glowing light. He put them in my hands. He said, you're gonna need this because the enemy is going to try to tell you that this didn't happen.
Am I the enemy right now? I guess probably. With that pentagram on your shirt.
Like a snap of a finger, blink of an eye, we were standing a couple feet away from where I was sitting. And he turned around and he was like, okay, get on my back. And I was like, okay. And he wanted to take me for a piggyback ride. So I jumped on Jesus' back. Really, the second that I like put my arms around him, he took off as fast as he could, running around.
Yeah, I do want this. Thank you. Oh, this looks delicious. He just walked up while she was explaining the Jesus piggyback. You want to hear this? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I'll replay it. It's so fucking stupid.
And he wanted to take me for a piggyback ride. So I jumped on Jesus' back. literally the second that I like put my
Who's
arms around
wait, oh,
him.
Falcor from the Neverending Story?
Yeah, the left dragon.
First of all, I've already mentioned Stranger Things twice in this video. I cannot do a third. Second of all, Jesus is like, we're going for a fucking piggyback ride.
That's why there was only one set of footprints.
I don't have anything else to say. This is just, this is just stupid. Jesus is like, hey, dreamlike state now. Except we're still in the same place that we were just in 30 seconds ago. Except now we're going for a piggyback ride. She's in worship, and Jesus is like, you're the one I choose. You get on my back. We're gonna run around this worship center, and everyone's gonna watch.
Yikes.
Anyway, there's more to this. Let's keep watching.
Took off as fast as he could, running around the sanctuary and laughing. Could not believe it was happening. I told him, I was like, Jesus, and I just saw the back of his.
Jesus, you're being so goofy right now. Jesus, slow down, Jesus.
I want to see your face again. Instead of putting me down, he moves me from his back to carrying me like I'm a child. When a toddler's like, and their legs are wrapped around your waist, that's how he was carrying me. And I just looked at his face and he was laughing. And it was just like the most.
So were they like face to face? She's like, my legs were wrapped around Jesus's waist, and because I wanted to see his face again. And we were just laughing. They're like face to face with each other, just like, ha 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 ha, this is so fun. Obviously, none of this happened. Like, do I fucking believe this shit? Maybe it was a dream. At best, I'll give her this, a dream. But that's it. That is as far. Oh no, you know what? I think she's just making this shit up. Ha ha. Just like, seriously, please picture this. Please picture this in your head right now. A grown ass woman, arms and legs wrapped around Jesus, looking him straight in the face, and just they're laughing and running together. It's so weird.
Most beautiful moment in the whole world. And then after that, I opened my physical eyes and I could still feel Jesus sitting next to me. And I was like, what? I was like, I did not think that would happen. I was scared to open my physical eyes because I didn't want it to end. And I was fully aware that Jesus was sitting right next to me. And I just grabbed his hand in the spirit. And I knew he was right there.
What does that mean? How do you spiritually grab someone's hand? I don't get it.
Jesus is no respecter of people. He will give you that same experience in the way that you want to experience it because he loves you so much.
Really, that's interesting. I've never heard a single person say that Jesus has given them a piggyback ride. This is the only one. What makes you so special? If you just ask Jesus to give you a piggyback ride, he'll do it because he loves you. Okay.
And you can bring heaven to earth. I forgot to mention the coolest part of the story, and that is the fact that my fast, I had mentioned in the beginning that I broke it at 4 days because of how much frustration I was in. And that day that I went into school, I felt really guilty and I had not repented yet, but I went into worship and I had that whole experience with Jesus and I hadn't repented yet. And I had been believing this lie that I couldn't come to God or be in relationship or fellowship with Jesus unless I was fully repentant up, if that makes sense. And Jesus proved to me that this was not the case and that he loved me and he just wanted to spend time with me. Ask Jesus today to reveal himself to you, and he will. He is so faithful.
I already touched on that last part there. Just ask him and he'll do it. Just ask Jesus to reveal himself and he'll do it. Okay, I spent 25 years doing that and I never got a piggyback ride from Jesus. So anyway, guys, that is all I have for you. You can't make this shit up. Listen, if you have any content suggestions or topic suggestions, I guess, for me, let me know. I will be reading the comments thoroughly here, looking for content suggestions because, as I said, nothing's happening right now. Everyone's boring except for the Jesus people getting piggybacks from Jesus. They sound like they're having a great time. But other than that, yeah, let me know what you want to see me cover. I know for my anti-MLM viewers, the Sensi World Tour is coming up, and I do happen to know a source that does have access to it, because it's virtual this year, that will be providing that video recording or access to the virtual event to myself and other anti-MLMers. So I do plan on maybe doing like a recap video of that. I think my friend DC is planning on actually streaming the whole thing. So that will be coming up. I think that's sometime this month, but I'm not positive. Other than that, I don't really have any other ideas. I mean, things always pop up, so I don't know. Let me know what you want me to cover. And before we end it here, I gotta say thank you to some people. So first of all, thank you Hungry Root for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget, use my code, do the things. You'll love Hungry Root. I also love Hungry Root to the point that I am an actual customer of them. I pay them money and I get many of my groceries from them, and I love them. You will love them too. And now I gotta say thank you to my patrons and my members, guys. The list of names I'm about to read off are my financial supporters. They get access to things like our private Discord server. We have a postcard club, and for December, I usually try to do something really special for December every year. Sometimes I have sent out like painted rocks that I've done. This year I did like colored pencil coloring book pages that I hand colored and sent out to everybody. It took me the whole month to get them all finished, but I got them all sent out, and everyone should be receiving them soon if you haven't already, especially my international people. It might take a few weeks. Yeah, so that's something special that I did. I like doing that stuff for you guys. So, but otherwise the postcard club is just monthly. I just send out customized little postcards, handwritten notes and stuff every month. So there's that. Sometimes early access to videos if I'm able to provide that, and sometimes even more than that. So go to patreon.com/SavannahMarie, or you can click the join button beneath this video to join my YouTube memberships. Whatever platform you want to join on works for me if it works for you. And again, like I said in my last video when I was reading this off, YouTube just changed something so that when I'm reading off people's names, I can only see their YouTube handle now and not their full name. So that's really annoying that they did that, and I'm gonna do my best here, but things are probably going to sound a little bit different to some of you guys, and I apologize, but I don't know how to change it and see your actual names. Anyway, the biggest thank you in the whole wide world goes to Hula Chowdown, Jacqueline Nutton, Leanne, Kessie Drew, Marie Silver, Maddie Darley, Ray, Caroline Reed, Bug, Sinead Maria Venus, AJC Charcity, Luciana Valiente, Emily from Kansas, Hannah Moe, Alex Offbeat, Love to Be Evil, Liz Sahu, Evan Adler, LaSalle Story, Fluffy Duck Butt 24, Elaine, Ferd Turgeson Esquire, Just Mark, Alice Wagner, Fallon Harris, Jessica Billhart, and Emion. And to the rest of my financial supporters, thank you so much for being here and for being you, and even if you're not a financial supporter, thanks for making it to the end of this video. YouTube loves watch time. I hope you guys all had a very safe and happy new year. I'm excited to jump back into things with you all in the year of 2026, and we'll be doing that shortly. I'll see you next time. Bye.